Put a quarter in it.
Yeah. 6 o'clock, we'll call the Rusk County Board of Supervisors order, January 28th, 2025. Roll call.
You just gotta punch it in if you're not here.
There we go.
Communication by Ms. Good and Pledge of Allegiance by Ms. Holder.
Mercy and peace be with you from God the Father and from the Lord Jesus Christ, the Son of the Father, in truth and love. 2 John 1:3. Quote, life can be chaotic and challenging. Praise God that He is not a God of disorder, but of peace. End quote. 1 Corinthians 14:33. Quote, we ask that you help us find the beauty and order He alone provides. End quote. Daily devotional. Quote, let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. End quote. Galatians 6:9. In the name of Jesus, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comment, limited to 3 minutes per person with maximum public comment of 30 minutes on agenda items only. Public comment.
You all should have received the email asking for support of the virtual access resolution, including needed amendments. I believe that the public wants virtual access and it's time. No matter your beliefs in the system, they want it. There's very little financial output to any of this, so that can't be our excuse. WCA attorney Andy Phillips said that there's not a liability issue with providing it. And in 2023, many said that we needed to take baby steps to see how it would go at the full board, and we've now seen that. Many of you have viewed my videos to know what's going on with other committees, your own committees, or at public comment, and as you should. It doesn't bother me that you're watching my videos. It bothers me that anyone would still sit here and think that it shouldn't be something this county provides. Across the political spectrum, one thing in this county has unified people: the belief that our local government is ours. The records are ours, the words out of your mouth are ours, how you represent us or don't is ours. And that should be available to all of us by virtual access for all meetings. Not because I showed up here and have repeatedly demanded it, but because it was here before and it was working. After the last 2 years, your virtual access will work even better and even more meaningful because I've gotten the public to have a vested interest in what is taking place here. Meeting access should be up to what a supervisor feels. If they're uneasy about technology, or doesn't wholeheartedly believe in open government, or feels that the public will cause too much of an uproar if it actually knows what's going on. We deserve to be guaranteed that every meeting, every time, no matter the nature of the discussion to be had, will be streamed to anyone who wants to see it. And in 2025, that also means placing recordings online. You already have a website, and many counties archive their meetings there. None of this is hard, and any one of you that asks the micromanaging details is only trying to cause trouble. You know that the people here are capable of running virtual access, and you know that WCA does not back up the false claim that there's a liability and we should not go down that road. You know the public wants it, and I will reiterate what should be changed. It needs to be mandatory at all meetings. It needs to be placed online. Many months ago, I gave Chair Caleb my word that when virtual access is up and running, I will join you for only the big stuff. Give the public access they deserve, not because it is a right afforded to us by law, but because it is the right thing to do.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any other public comment?
Actually, I'm gonna say something. For those of you who don't know who I am, Laura Jennerman, I work for the newspaper and I get to cover you guys. And I just wanted to, say that I really do use her YouTube videos to help me give accurate reporting on what happens in the county boards. So, if I would encourage you to, yes, please make sure that it's something that's accessible online after the fact. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Public comment? Public comment? None being heard, public comment is closed. Approval of the minutes for December 17th, 2024. Motion by Mr. Kudo, second by Mr. Russell. Any questions? If not, we can vote on. That's the fire ward.
I know, I see it, I got a problem.
Do a voice vote on the minutes, we're having technical difficulties.
So there's a motion by,
Mr. Kudo, seconded by Mr. Russell.
to accept the December 17th.
Oh, to approve the December 17th, 2024 minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
Alright, discussion and possible motion. Approval of the Rusk County Emergency Fire Warden for 2025. Is there a motion? Somebody's gotta make more. A motion?
Yeah.
Motion by Mr. Moore, is there a second? Second by Mr. Schneider. Any questions? This is still the old stuff. Mr. Moore made the motion, Mr. Schneider seconded the motion.
Okay, so Mr. Moore,
I got
just
it.
to clarify, your motion is to appoint as presented.
Correct.
For the fire wardens. and vote
We'll take out the motion to.
if we can.
It does, it has a line of its own. It's getting close.
There you go.
Passed by majority. Number 2, waste management, expansion of landfill in the town of Stubbs, Ashley Heath and Nick.
Okay, so, we were served per state statute on the county clerk, what is in your packet. Wisconsin Stats 289.22 requires local approval by affected municipalities. So we either need to specify to Waste Management all local approvals for which applications are required, or issue a statement that there are no applicable local approvals. Between me and Nick looking through ordinances and everything, we do not believe there are applicable local approvals. However, we do expect that Waste Management will continue to work with our LCDD department to ensure compliance with the county ordinances. Did you wanna add anything else?
No, nothing more than that. We don't have any local approval authority, but we do have, a few stipulations in our zoning ordinance that they will be required to follow.
So, Mr. Chair, if I may, it would be prudent for the board to consider a motion such as Rusk County requires no applicable local approvals for Waste Management of Wisconsin Inc.'s Timberline Trail Recycling and Disposal Facility, second northern expansion.
Any motion on what she read? Motion by Mr. Kudo, is there a second? Second by Mr. Undershoots. Any other questions? If not, we can vote on it.
I just wanna know, they're doing it within the side, the footprint they've got now, right?
Yes.
The fencing area and the whole thing?
Yes.
They're not moving the fences or anything?
No, it's within the approved area they have for the landfill.
Any other questions? Not, we can vote on it. Passed by the majority. Ms. Heath has one more thing to add to it.
Okay, and then the last few pages of the packet was, according to state statute Wisconsin 289.33, we are an affected municipality, so you do have the opportunity to participate in negotiation and arbitration. I don't know if any of you had the opportunity to look at that state statute, but that process is extensive and has the potential of being expensive. Part of the requirements of that is if you do want to enter into a negotiation with Waste Management, you would have to pass a resolution, you would have to form a local committee. There are limits as to what you can negotiate. Negotiation sessions are open to the public, and any costs incurred as a result of this will be shared between Waste Management and the local committee. So obviously, or I shouldn't say obviously, probably you would want an attorney involved in that, so there would be that cost there. I do not believe the county historically has had interest in this, but it's something that is before the board if you choose to do so.
Let's see anybody jumping on the table, so I think we're good to move on. Number 3, 2024 annual forest report, Jared.
Good afternoon, evening, whatever it is, not morning. This report is for your information, and it's a requirement that I provide this for you for our membership in the Wisconsin County Forest Association. So, I'll highlight some of the big stuff on here. Parks and Recreation, not a whole lot changed over the last year. We are currently sitting on $1.5 million worth of grant projects. It's mostly ATV trail work, some bridges and stuff like that for snowmobile as well. Campground revenue, as you can see at the bottom, has been fairly consistent the last few years. If you remember, we had a big jump up in that around 2020 when COVID came and everybody went outside. I thought we were gonna be quite a bit lower than that for 2024, but we had a big fall push with all the warm, dry weather we had, so that was good. Dispersed camping permits, that's always interesting to see. Fairly consistent, a little different spread between deer season and the rest of the year though. Cross-country ski trail system in the Blue Hills is maintained as usual. State funded ATV, UTV trails maintained as usual, 32 miles. The mileage has slowly been going up as we've been building more trails, probably since I started here. In a few years, we tack on another few miles. State funded snowmobile trails, 318 miles. Not much of a season last year, but the clubs managed to spend over $57,000. Nice work on that. Flipping over to the back side. Timber sales, the big chart on the top, you can see 2024 revenue was 1.8 million. Down a fair bit from the last few years. I would suspect it will continue to go down just because of the struggling markets in the timber industry. I would say in the last couple of years, we're still doing okay, but we're selling our wood a lot cheaper. You know, we set up the same amount of acres that's based on our allowable cut that's maintained in the Whispers Forest inventory system that the state maintains for us. We have an allowable cut and we're required to set up the acreage. We continue to do so, but the dollars per acre has dropped significantly, as most of you are aware. 10% required by the state to go straight to the towns, 181,000. There's a chart toward the bottom that shows this, the breakdown on that to each township. That is a percentage of the county forest held within that township. So, for example, Murray and Wilkinson are both right around 20% of the county forest, so they get the biggest checks. 27 timber sales were sold in 2024. We are holding 4 sales right now that failed to sell twice, so hopefully we can have some action in the spring to get those on the books. 23 closed out, and 90 sitting under contract with an estimated value in the table just below at a little over 7.1 million. So yeah, we're still getting a lot of wood cut that was bought at a higher price 4 years ago. That helps our revenue, but I'm still comfortable for the next year or two or foreseeable future that we will hit our $1 million mark. Of course, if a few more mills go down, that can change in a hurry as well. And then once again, at the bottom, the township payments is broken out, and carbon credits. I'm sure you're all aware that we have not received any revenue from carbon credits. But things are looking up on that front. Q4 last year, Anu reported that they had 3 or 4 large first-time sales for new projects, and they're telling me and Ashley that we are on the priority list for a sale, so keep your fingers crossed. Iron County, many of you may know, they had a $1 million sale approximately late last year, where they landed about $560,000 into their own account after all the expenses paid for. So it's already worth it for them. Hopefully we're next. Any questions?
You need a motion on it, sir?
Yeah, motion to
Okay, so
forward
you
to
need a
approve.
motion to approve the
First,
2024 annual forest report.
Yep. Motion by Howard.
Oh, I didn't even get to see it.
I'm sorry.
Man, you did it. You did technical difficulty. Last majority.
What's that, you ready?
Passed.
Okay.
Majority.
Good deal. Thank you.
We're done until we get to the next one, I see you.
Yes, it's next on the list. so figured I'd wait.
All right, resolutions, need a motion and a second. Motion by Mr. Miller, second by Mr. Hampton, designating the continuing appropriations account for development of habitat on county forest. Jared.
So we have an annual partnership meeting with the DNR. They provide almost 3,000 hours of work for us on the county forest each year. And as you know, the county forest is established through state law, chapter 2811. With that comes requirements and benefits. One of the benefits is a habitat grant, annual grant that is, it's only about $4,100 per year. But one of the requirements is that we put it into a carry forward account. And it's just required by the state, so if we would like to continue receiving that grant, I was told that we should probably start doing that. Go for it.
Any other questions, Jared? Not, we can vote on it.
Sure.
Just gotta double tap it.
Passed by majority. Two. Motion and a second. Motion by Mr. Russell, seconded by Mr. Meyer. Creation of additional CLPS case manager, Jeremy Jacobs.
Good evening, everyone. It's Jeff Fisher.
It's a rough crowd, careful.
Thanks for coming to work today. Good job, good job. Thanks for moving it up to 6 o'clock so old people like me can get to bed. So, all right, very briefly, the resolution in front of you is, pretty self-sustaining. I thank Ashley Goodis for helping me with that comprehensive resolution. This proposed resolution strengthens our ability to accurately and efficiently serve a growing population within the Children's Long-Term Support Program. By adding this full-time employee, we are better suited to holistically approach families' needs through assessment, individualized case planning, as well as supporting their family. This program primarily assists children diagnosed with a physical, emotional, or developmental disability and is designed at improving lives through a continuum of care spectrum. Just a few supporting components to this resolution. In 2018, the state of Wisconsin removed the wait list for children's long-term support. We had previously capped that at 20. And so we had, at any one time, we had 20 cases and we had 2 full-time employees. At that time, it was really like 1.25. But then in 2020, as the resolution states, we had to expand that because we've experienced a 400% increase in our children's long-term support. We have over 100 cases at this point, we have 102 as of this morning. And so as a result, we still have 2 full-time employees, and the statewide best practice case management standards is 30. And so we have on an average of 50 per case manager. And so this resolution would allow us to expand that case management to do the things that we would be more impactful with families. The fiscal impact on the resolution is $78,700 $435.73. That is a person being hired at, I believe, grade 10, step 1, and that's the fiscal impact. However, through case management, Medicaid funding, and reconciliation annually, there is, it's cost neutral, and so we are reimbursed and then reconciled to the amount of the cost of that program for the year. Per policy, we went through to gain, Human Services Board, just what everybody in the room has heard my PowerPoint presentation, so I promised Ashley we would not pull that up unless somebody had questions. But we went through HHS Board Personnel and Finance, and so our ask today has been changed a little bit in light of the news in reference to the federal funding review and pause on any federal allocations. I'm asking that we conditionally approve this position, and then once we're assured that the funding through Medicaid is available, then we will be able to go forward with the recruitment.
Any other questions for Jeremy?
Jeremy,
Yes.
on your, whereas and wherefores, let's see, well, you got one there for the wherefores. Whereas this new position will be fully funded through productivity.
Yeah.
How do you measure that?
So every billable hour, there is an associated rate. And so in children's long-term support, every year we have to fill out a rate setting tool, and it kicks out a rate. We were doing it wrong for a fair amount of time. We were not capturing our AMSO costs. We weren't capturing all of our overhead management and support costs. So once we did that, our rate went from $67 in like 2018 to whereas right now, it is $112 per hour. And so we capture all of those billable hours through productivity first, and then we're reconciled based on any cost that is not through a billable hour. And so Jamie in her office, we've talked about this a lot, is that the $112 per hour in 2025, there's a lot of necessary non-billable time that the case managers put in. And as a result, everything else is billable through that $112 an hour. We're reconciled on the necessary non-billable time. So that's what the productivity portion means there, is it's very specific to case managers doing everything they possibly can within the guidelines and the allowable cost of children's long-term support.
Got it.
Does that suffice?
Good, Mike? Any other questions? If not, we can vote on it. Passed by the majority.
Awesome, thank you very much, appreciate it very much, thank you.
Number 3 is crossed off, we will not be discussing. Number 4, need a motion in a second. Motion by Mr. Hampton, second by Mr. Russell. Safe Streets for All, Rusk County Highway Department, Justin, Livingston.
Good evening, everyone. The highway department is, working with surrounding counties, Washburn, Sawyer, Oakfield, with Coleman Engineering to get Rusk County in the program for Safe Streets for All. So SS4 is what Safe Streets for All stands for. Coleman Engineering will look at problem areas and get better ideas for the highway department. When we go through a new reconstruction on a road to better assist safe travel, pedestrians, bikes, and motorists. If we adopt this resolution, this IDs Rusk County to the federal government, that we are in the program and that we are able to get federal funding for this program to assist our projects for safe streets. Our improvement would all depend on funding. If there's not funding, we have to reassess this. But once we are in this program, the funding comes available, we are more than likely able to get some of this funding. So the extra add-ons and, money that comes through the federal government, we would be further closer to the top to be able to receive some of these funds. A big goal for the resolution is to help achieve and maintain 0 deaths on Rusk County's roads. Speed is a major factor, and sometimes you can't stop somebody from speeding. Do what you can. A data-driven approach has proven to be effective, reducing traffic fatalities and injuries. Factors are taken into consideration, like people sometimes make mistakes. So road-related policy should be designed to ensure that the inevitable mistakes do not result in severe injuries or fatalities. So I'm asking if you guys will allow us to adopt this as a way to potentially in the future allow us to be able to utilize some of this federal funding.
Any questions for Justin? Mr. Kudo?
So, in the, little box there, Jamie, I believe you got cost within current budget?
Yes, I mean,
What does that mean exactly?
that you guys aren't asking for extra money for this.
No, we're not asking for any extra money. There is a $15,000 cap on there that would come from the highways budget that helps move this forward with the other counties components in, but that is a cap that we will not go over $15,000.
Okay, so everybody, every county that's in on this, basically they're all putting in?
Yeah, they're putting in their numbers.
Yeah.
So we're all working together to try and get this program through these. That's, 3 counties and an LCO.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Mr. Schneider?
Is this sort of based on fatalities and accidents, right? Is it also based on some flaws we have in some, I mean, we have flaws in some of our roads.
Correct.
So we can get points for that then too, to possibly refix it?
Are you considering flaws as rough roads, deteriorating roads, or?
Flaws in general.
So essentially what this will do is it'll basically create a bike lane or bypass lane for people to walk in certain sections. It's not going to replace a culvert, it's not going to repave an 11 or 12-foot lane road. It's going to, and in addition to the shoulderway, make an intersection more feasible. Say you got some trees in the way, usually the county takes care of that, but if you got an intersection that comes in at a 45-degree angle, there may be a restructure to make that so it's a 90, so you got better visibility from either side. And in turn comes with, more property, that's a cost, usually a major cost to that part. So that's where some of this federal funding can come into play.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, we can vote on it. Passed by the majority.
Thank you.
Number 5. Is there any objection to swapping for resolution on the screen? The one that's on our sheet, the one that's on our sheet, it actually has the wrong year on it, correct?
Correct, so the intention of the former treasurer was that this penalty would be effective for back due taxes in 2024 moving forward. The way that the state statute is written is that we could do that if you passed it without that wording in it, as it is in your packet. This penalty would apply to all current back due taxes. So from 23, 22, 21. So the intention of the former treasurer was to start this penalty with back due taxes in 2024. And so that was not in that little stipulation, was not in the resolution that finance passed. So the ask right now is, does anyone have an objection with swapping in?
And the only thing that was added is this last sentence here, and it says, and shall apply to tax years 2024 and thereafter. That's the only thing that's different from the one in your packet.
Everybody understand? Any objections? Mr. Willingham?
I'm not necessarily reserve the right to object, but the question is, doesn't this amount to an after-the-fact penalty that people would not have been aware of?
The 2024 taxes collected in 2025.
But you're striking I thought she said that would apply to taxes going back to 2021.
No. The resolution that is in your packet doesn't specify 24 forward. Right. Yep.
So it's just the opposite of.
Correct.
Yep.
Well, good, then I don't have to object. Thank you.
Okay, so, before we object, I would entertain a motion to bring this to the floor. The resolution that's on the screen.
I'll make the motion,
Push button.
but this is adding.
Motion by Mr. Wedway, seconded by Mr. Hanson. Any other questions? If not, we can vote on it. Passed by the majority. Okay, number 6. Entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Russell. Second by Mr. Coggins, authorizing the formation of an ad hoc board rules and relationship committee. Ms. Reed.
Okay, so if you guys remember back in early December, Andy Phillips and Sarah Deirdrick were here and they did a presentation about clarifying like roles and responsibilities between administration and the board. And the consensus of the board at that meeting was to send this to the personnel committee to work with the WCA on this. So the personnel committee met, and Mike, I don't know if you wanna address this at all, but they met in early January and decided that maybe this wasn't the task for them and that they recommend forming an ad hoc committee.
Yeah, that was sort of a thought after the fact where we should have a wider net than just that one, just the personnel committee. That, it's important enough that, we should have more views on there, if you will. Wider representation. Anyway, that was our thought process.
So essentially what this is doing is creating an ad hoc board rules and relationships committee to be comprised of 5 board supervisors that will be appointed by the county board chair.
Any other questions? Mr. Willingham.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maybe, Mr. Russell could explain a little further. I'm not sure I quite understood the notion that not being the personnel committee, and I'm not saying that it should be or shouldn't, but my experience on the personnel committee has been that we do not speak with one voice, so like getting more variety on the committee, I don't think you could get any more variety than you got on the personnel committee already, but that's just my thought, so, but it doesn't matter that much.
Well, I like it that we don't all speak with one voice.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the goal anyway, to have more voices rather than just the personnel committee.
You said we're gonna have 5.
Yeah.
So we got 5 voices on the personnel committee.
Yeah, but they're always the same 5 voices.
Okay, if there's no more, if there's any other questions, if not, we can vote on it.
You have a list for the members yet, or?
That's good. good?
Hmm?
That's good. Passed by the majority. Kind of in there, Number 7. Motion by Mr. Ludwig, is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Good. Broadband equity access and employment funding endorsement for Brightspeed. Here,
Okay, this actually will cover, agenda items 7, 8, and 9. They're all identical. Just a quick background, Wisconsin got almost $1.1 billion in broadband funds. And so the various entities are applying for them. So it's BEAD, and if you look at it, broadband, equity, access, deployment, that's BEAD. And this is handled through the PSC, Public Service Commission. And part of the thing is that they're requesting all the entities, the ISPs of those who want to partake, to get letters of endorsement or letters of intent. So they're having to go around and asking for, from hospitals, county boards, town boards, industry, major entities within the county to give support, because this is ranked on a scale and it's competitive throughout the state. And so they can get, I believe it's 5 to 7 points based on how many endorsements they get or letters of intent. So they're going around, so the entities, and on these, in this case, it's going to be Brightspeed, it's going to be, Brewstel and Mosaic are the ones that are requesting this. And this is a requirement, and they have to have these letters and endorsements done and into the state Public Service Commission by February 25th. And again, this is just one part. It's a whole list of criteria. The Public Service Commission ranks them on, feasibility and where they are, and that right now I think there's about 3,351 ESLs or broadband service locations in Rusk County that are not being taken care of. This is only for those locations that are unserved or underserved. And there are other locations that are having contracts going right now. They're installing cable or fiber, and they're also, if they've already signed contracts, they're not eligible for BEAD. Again, we want to get these 3 entities that are in Rusk County, we want to get them so that they can get the money to help spread broadband. Because it's not a want, it's really a need. It's a necessity for business, to grow and community. And if you look at all 3 of these resolutions, you'll see the wording's almost the same, because there was a template sent out and said you must have this, 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 and this. And so that's what it is. So again, I would urge support for all 3 of these. They're basically identical, and it's the 3 that have asked for our endorsements. Again, Brightspeed, Mosaic, and Brewstel.
Do we have somebody here from Brightspeed?
No, they asked, and I said there was no need for them to be here tonight because it's just
Any other
but I
questions?
believe Mosaic is here.
Well, I gotta do this in this,
Okay.
according to the agenda. So, any other questions for Terry on this one? If not, we can vote on it. Passed by the majority. Okay, number 8, do the same thing, need a motion by Mr. Ledwicks, second by Mr. Undershoot. Actually, we're gonna talk about this one,
Sean, did you wanna say something super quick about, how you serve Rusk County and what you would hope to do with BEAD funding?
Only if you guys want me to.
Can you give us a real short brief, just a quick summary?
Well, I'm John Minoski from Bruce Telephone, and I've been serving the county in the Bruce area since 1940, our company. So the BEAD is just another way for us to apply for funding to go closer to Ladysmith. So it would really help to get your endorsement, and it would help the application process greatly.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? If not, we can vote on it. Passed by majority. Number 9, entertain motion by Mr. Wedwick, seconded by Mr. Hampton. Is anybody here from Mosaic?
Preston?
Quick brief overview.
Good evening. My name is Preston Pearson. I'm the Chief Operations Officer with Mosaic Technologies. I do appreciate your time and consideration in regards to this important project and important factor of getting broadband through Rusk County. We will be a fiber optic based company that's going to come in and want to be able to hit everybody that's at least eligible with fiber based end-to-end services. So that would be obviously a priority project in the way the BEAD scoring actually works. So again, do appreciate your time and your consideration for this, again, important project and services.
Thank you. All right, no questions? If not, we can vote on it. Passed by the majority. Number 10. Uh-oh, what's that mean? Three's up? Oh, number 10. Entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Kuno, seconded by Mr. Coggins, to adopt a change to financial procedure manual, chapter 6, regarding monthly, departmental budget reporting.
So this resolution proposes the creation of a monthly budget report form and coinciding language changes to the financial procedures manual. Monthly updated budget worksheets are currently available on the Z Drive, but it has been mentioned over the last few months that these documents can be overwhelming to look through. So the finance director and I have prepared a streamlined budget report form to assist oversight committees in getting a clearer view of where their departments sit budgetarily every month. The form pulls in information that is already on the budget worksheets provided by the finance department, but gives a big picture overview rather than looking at every single line. The department head will then be responsible for pointing out lines of concern within their budgets and work with their oversight committee to determine a plan of action. There's also a space for the department head to put any other notes regarding their budgets. The oversight committee will then approve and forward the form onto the finance committee for final approval. All forms will be filed with the finance director. So an example of a line of concern would be in the admin HR budget. We have a legal fee line. If our contracted labor attorney were to unexpectedly raise their hourly rate by $100, that would be an impact. It would be up to me or the human resources manager to inform our oversight committee of this change and then propose a plan to keep the budget under control, which could be limiting use of the outside counsel or developing an MOU with a different outside counsel. The committee can then either agree with our plan or suggest and implement a plan of their own. An example of other notes would be if the HHS director were to let his committee know that a high-cost placement has been removed from the county's responsibility, which could indicate a budget savings, but also there's no way to predict if an additional high-cost placement will come back onto the county. The goal of this form is to open the lines of communication between the committees and their departments that they oversee. A more proactive rather than reactive approach to the budget will alleviate surprises when it comes to budget time. The changes to the financial procedures manual regarding this reporting form are highlighted in red. The meat of this policy and procedure is still intact. The only real addition here is the form. So if you'll, notice, all of the wording in black was already an existing policy and procedure within our financial procedures manual. This, for whatever reason, just has not historically been followed. So the only real addition is the budget form that was attached to this resolution, which is a streamlined way of letting the committees know what's going on in those budgets. It also will have the last 2 years of actuals for comparison, and then the accounts of concern, any other information that the department head feels is relevant, and then a signature page as well.
Any questions? That's good.
I have one concern about when we get the report, sometimes it's 3 months from bills that were 3 months ago. I don't know how the chairman can know where he is or she is if you're 3 months behind on getting the information.
Did you wanna address AP and?
So sometimes we don't get those invoices for months, and so this is kind of putting that responsibility onto the department heads and their oversight committees as well, because, you know, if invoices aren't coming in, if they're not getting entered in timely, that is a budgetary concern as well, because, so that's kind of, you know, it's the department taking responsibility, saying, hey, this is where I'm at, these are what I'm expecting, and sometimes, you know, some of those invoices, like credit cards and ones that are paid via ACH, can get delayed with us processing them because they're already paid, but that's really has not been the case lately. And there always is going to be a lag, and that's why, you know, this doesn't start until May, as far as looking at the 2025 budget. Right now, every month, the department should be bringing you their 2024 budget projections as they get a more accurate number.
They just look at what they have, or do they know what they have spent?
And so sometimes it's asking the question like, what date are these expenses posted through? So like when I come to property committee and I say, here's our county car report, but you know, these expenses aren't in for the last month yet, and we haven't done these charges yet, so this data is really only accurate through this date. But those budget projection sheets that are already available to all those departments, that's where those departments can fill in the remainder of the year, so you get a better idea of where things are gonna shake out for the whole year.
Mr. Andershoots?
Mr. Chairman, to address those concerned, the payment reports, if they are delayed, this is a good tool to use. That the department head's gonna know if there's like a big invoice that isn't normal. Like a lot of the payments we go through in the payment reports are just the normal day-to-day operations, where this will give a tool that even if it hasn't showed up in the payment report, the department head knows they ordered it. Okay, we got a big expense coming, we gotta figure out what our budget is for next year, so everybody's not surprised. I think that would help in that regard, so that we're not surprised by it.
Mr. Willingham?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I think it's really helpful for individual departments in the oversight committees to review some sort of projection of what's gonna be happening for the rest of the year. But I can be aware of what's going on with my committees, but I don't know how, you know, it seemed to me that we need some mechanism to inform the board of where the county's budget is, not departmental committees looking at the department budget. We might say, oh, things look good in zoning, so I'm not gonna worry about it, and then find out that something's going awry in another department. So is there I know that some counties have a monthly financial report that's presented to the board at their monthly board meetings. I don't know how expensive it is, but I think that something similar to projecting trends and et cetera would be helpful. Looking for red flags or whatever on a full board scale rather than
other questions? If not, we can vote on it. Susan, you're not voting? Oh, okay, never mind.
What? Somebody need your name? Okay.
That's by the majority. Number 11, entertain a motion. A motion by Mr. Undershoot, seconded by Mr. Cotting, authorizing the contracting of financial consultant. Ms. Jamie.
So, as you are all aware, I am going to be done, on February 14th. And so we proposed to finance committee last week, kind of bringing in, contracted help to help with the transition of the finance director position. Because with our growing staffing, it's really hard to absorb all of the duties within, what we have. I've, worked on transitioning some of it, but there's just a lot that needs to be done over these next several months. And, we kind of want to keep things in a good spot so that the position is appealing for someone else to come into as well. So, Ashley and I met with a couple of accounting firms, to possibly kind of come in and help us. Unfortunately, Clifton Larson Allen is our auditing firm, so they have a conflict of interest and aren't able to assist with all of the items that we kind of have listed out. So as far as contracted services go, Baker Tilly is our best option. And so this is the listing of kind of items that we thought we could use some help with from them. And some of it, maybe they won't have to help with, because if the position gets filled, then somebody's able to take on those duties. A lot of them are like once a year. At the finance committee meeting at 5 o'clock, we had discussed also looking into contracting with a former finance director or an individual. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to pan out, as the one individual we talked to is not interested, and the other one is going to be out of state for a couple of months coming up here. So, we really think that Baker Tilly is kind of our best option. They had kind of asked, what are our expectations for hours per week? And Ashley and I were thinking that, between the duties that we can absorb within our existing staff, that it would average about 20 to 25 hours a week. So they gave us a not to exceed cost, with a 4-month projection at the 25 hours a week, which would be about 400 hours. Their not to exceed cost is $110,000. And so, and they said, we could work with this contract if this is something that, if we wanna cut out certain services or put a cap on the number of hours per week, that is negotiable. And then, one thing that, we don't have in that resolution right now is a funding source, because obviously it's not in the existing finance budget, so it would, ultimately require a budget amendment, either now or down the road to utilize more fund balance, to balance that out.
That it in a nutshell? Any questions? Or everybody kind of understand what's going on here?
So the resolution does still leave it open, so if there is an individual that would be willing to help us out, the resolution leaves it open to that, for 20 to 25 hours a week. Step 1, which is $41.20 an hour, and or allowing the board chair to negotiate and enter into contract with Baker Tilly. So that the resolution does provide for 2 paths.
Any other questions, concerns? If not, we can move 12, entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Undershoots, seconded by Mr. Russell. Adopting the change to the electronic meeting policy. Ms. Heath. Tom, you got a question?
Yeah, I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to know, is this, where's this gone? Is that just directly here? I mean, I feel as though this should have went to property. When, this did?
November 20.
With these particular revisions on it, et cetera?
It wasn't in the form of a resolution, but yes, these are the exact revisions that were in the packet.
So who decided to bring it back now?
Property made a motion in November, motion by Miller, second by Hanson to refer to the county board. Would you like me to pull the minutes up?
Not necessarily, but I do have some questions regarding this. So, first of all, under the policy, electronic meetings policy, number 2, point number 2, it said, it says, all county board meetings shall be held in person, and there is a presumption. I would like to see that strike from there. I think that it should read, all county board meetings shall be held in person, and that all county board members shall attend county board meetings in person. I don't understand why there's a presumption needs to be in there. And then moving on, under procedure number 3, letter B, the county clerk should not be responsible for anything on this. This should be the responsibility of the administrative coordinator. Point D, I feel that if we're going to include electronic access for all county board meetings, committee meetings, commission meetings, we should also include meetings, department head meetings as well. I'm moving right along, letter E. Under point 3, I feel that should be stated frankly right there, that all control of the virtual meeting should be, the administrative coordinator should be in charge of that, and the IT department should ensure that the equipment necessary to conduct each meeting is in place prior to commencement of the meetings period. And letter G, where it says no public comment is allowed for teleconferencing unless previously approved by the chair. I feel there that I think public comment either, if the public wants to come and make comment, they should either attend the meeting to make their public comment, or else they should submit their comments in writing to the chair, and the chair could read them during the public comment time. I don't feel public comment should be a part of teleconferencing. Letter H. I believe that point number 4 should be removed. I don't believe that if you're not gonna take the time to come to a meeting, I don't believe you should receive a per diem. Then letter J. I believe that should read, members who participate in a meeting by electronic means shall, or should be required to join the meeting prior to the start of the meeting and identify themselves. I don't believe that people should just buzz in whenever they feel like it. That would eliminate them that would eliminate them having to wait until they would not interrupt somebody that was speaking. And then letter N,
Can I ask you a question?
yeah,
Um,
I do have the floor, can you wait until I'm done?
oh, okay.
I just have a little bit more.
Okay.
Thank you. Letter N, I'm not sure, I don't understand that at all. Each member is responsible for their connection to the electronic meeting. No action shall be invalidated on the grounds that the loss of or poor quality of a member's individual connection prevented participation in the meeting. But then, it says in letter O, that the chair may order, and that again should order not the county clerk, but the administrative coordinator to disconnect or mute members' connection if it is causing undue interference. Those two are, I don't get that, it just doesn't make sense. You say, well, no, they can't be on no matter what the quality of their connection is, and then the next one says that, yeah, you can disconnect them. So I think there needs to be some changes there. And then letter P, it says all votes should be taken by roll call. All minutes shall be recorded as fully recorded roll call votes. On our system that is employed, that we use currently, all the votes are recorded electronically. So doing a roll call it doesn't make sense to me.
That'd be for committees too.
Well, I mean, okay, then it should state that.
Yeah, we don't use the system for committee meetings.
Right, I mean, okay, but it says all votes shall be taken by roll call. So, I mean, that should be then said, I mean, it should say, that the committees should be roll call. So, yeah. And furthermore, I don't feel, I guess, to put this in motion February 1st that's just retarded. This is nowhere near ready to put in place right now. But this should be gone over. This wording it's not right the way it is. It needs to be changed and corrected, I think, so. I don't think it's feasible or possible. The other things too is that, I mean,
Tom,
there is supposed to be a,
Tom.
what?
I just wanna clarify one thing, it says March 1st, 2025.
Oh, I guess I was looking at the letters from the public, I'm sorry. Okay, March 1st, I still don't think this is anywhere as near as ready. I mean, are we gonna be able to get a adequate speaker in here by March 1st? Do we have costs on that? Can we afford to put that in? I mean, has that been considered either? Just wondering.
I don't know where that came from. It's only been, what'd you say again? Why'd you say that? I can barely hear you.
You heard me just fine.
I did.
Which part did you not hear?
Cost.
Yeah, I mean, if we need to put in speakers here, or whatever, to promote this and to make it happen, where's that coming from?
Right, it's only been talked about, it's never really been put in concrete. So that cost is just kinda sitting in the wind out there. Speculation of numbers is just sitting in the wind out there. Can we fiscally probably do it this year? Probably not. So it's just only been talk. Who put it in concrete? Sure as hell wasn't me.
So then I assume that from what you're saying then, that this is not gonna cost the county anything
Not with the system we
to
got.
put this in place.
Right, with the system we got. Mr. Moore. I'm sorry, Mr. Hammersheets.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was taking notes on some of Tom's comments, and I would like to address the ones that my thoughts on some of them. I think the March 1st is where do agree that we need a better speaker system, and I've had people complain about not being able to hear me, and I try to speak up, and then I forget because I'm used to talking face to face. I don't think we need to put that in front of the horse and worry about, getting a speaker system when this is adequate for the moment. And in the future, yes, I think some investment should be made into better speaker system. But for now, let's start with what we have. As far as the concern about, supervisors attending the meetings, I would tend to agree with Tom that you probably shouldn't accept the per diem on that. But I do think you should have the option to be able to attend the meeting. And maybe just take out that, hey, if you're gonna attend online, you're not getting a per diem. I don't think the intent is to have somebody live in Florida for 6 months at a time, attending all their meetings virtually. So I understand that point, but I think having the option that if I'm on vacation and I still wanna be able to stay in the loop, I think is important. So yeah, removing the, meeting per diem would be fine by me. As far as, public comment, yeah, it might be best to just not allow it on virtual access, I guess. Probably the Tom there, but as far as if somebody's not there 10 minutes prior to the meeting, you're buzzing at the right time, I think that there should be that flexibility. Sometimes your computer doesn't work quite right. I think you should be able to, join the meeting whenever you're able to. You might join because only the last 20 minutes of the meeting is an agenda item that really concerns you. As far as who runs the meeting, if, doesn't matter to me there. So, anyways, that's all the notes I took. Thank you.
Mr. Moore?
Yeah, just to clarify, our present system is, capable of this, starting this March 1st, is that correct? I mean, and that would be for all county board, full board meetings and committee meetings, correct?
Keep in mind, that's only in this room,
Pardon?
only in this room.
Well, I suppose it would have to be.
Required to be in this room.
Right. That's all I got, I just wanted to clarify it.
Mr. Moore?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had a couple of comments, along the lines of, Mr. Kudo and Mr. Undershoots. I think, allowing members to participate in meetings remotely should be allowed, but judiciously, and certainly should be, I would think it would be required that if you're going to attend the meeting, you attend the meeting and not just buzz in when you wanna vote on one item and then leave, or come in late and just for one item that you're interested in. You know, if you wanna participate in the meeting, I think you should participate in the whole meeting. With that said, I have two amendments that I would like to offer. Amend button, maybe? And these are the two amendments.
So are they, for sake of doing a motion to bifurcate, are they similar, or you wanna do one at a time?
I suppose we could do it either way. I could offer one.
My preference would be
vote on it, and
one at a time would be my preference.
Okay, first one then is in reference to, the line 51 and line 52 in the resolution. And the amendment would be to strike the language in line 51 and into 52 that begins with, or board member access, and then strike all the, at the discretion of the chair. It seems to me that we would be opening up ourselves to a great deal of conflict if we have committee meetings and 1 month the chair allows public access, and the next month the chair doesn't allow public access. Or 1 month the chair allows a member to attend remotely, and the next month they don't. Making a decision about public access based on the content of the meeting or the agenda just seems fraught with at least a suggestion or appearance of lack of impartiality. So, to my way of thinking, we should just have public access available for all meetings of the board and the committees, including sort of the extracurricular commissions and boards as well. So that's.
It's to remove and county board member access at the discretion of the chair?
No.
Just at the
After
discretion
where
of
it
the
says
chair.
county board member.
Yep.
Then access.
Okay.
And access, then the last words are struck at the discretion of the chair. So that's my amendment.
It'd be nice if you could hear the meetings too.
Is that it, Dave?
No.
Is that it?
That's the first one. I have another one, but Mr. Summerfield suggested that we.
So you need to put a second on this, otherwise it will die for lack of a second.
So I need a motion by Mr. Rutherford, second by Mr. Undershoots. Is, everybody good with this? Any questioning on it? We'll go.
Are we just voting on the amendment?
Yes.
Yes.
Passed by the majority.
Okay, I'd like to offer a second amendment, not the second amendment. It's a curse. Anyway, the second amendment would go to the end of the resolution.
Hit your amend button one more time.
What's that?
Hit your button.
Oh, I thought I did.
There you go.
Okay. Nothing
Thank
happened
you.
on my screen, so I didn't. Anyway, and it would add the following.
So where, I'm sorry?
At the end of on the second page, beginning with line 41 on this back page, okay? We'll read as follows. Now therefore be it further resolved that the Rusk County IT Department, as soon as practical, obtain and install and implement an electronic recording system to record, catalog, and archive all meetings of the board, the board's committees, and boards and commissions as to be available for members and the public to access recorded meetings for on-demand replay. So in other words, we would record all of our meetings, and they would be archived on and accessible from the website. If anyone wants, if any board member wants to look at a meeting that took place last week, either that they participated in or another committee, or
Can you, you didn't give that in writing to anybody ahead of time, did you?
I have it on my phone if
Can you send
if you'd
it?
like to.
Yeah, if you could.
Like
Send
to
it to
bring
me.
and, if you won't call my wife.
I'll get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, I think, and, Mr. Chairman, if it pleases you, that, maybe, County Clerk Meyer could, enlighten us. I thought you said something at a recent meeting about software that's available to do this kind of thing, that would
It's like five,
facilitate,
yeah,
and I don't know how expensive it is, but
3,500 to, I'd have to, they were offering it for 3,500, but it might be up to 5,000 now, but I can try to call them.
That was one of the things we were still looking into,
like a
but
reasonable.
now we kinda got the cart ahead of the horse here, though.
I think that's a reasonable amount, and
So,
for that purpose.
They would take care of it all.
I mean, yeah, we were looking into it, Dave, and it's just a matter of time. The timing was off. I was gone this week, so we didn't have time to get after it, but that's fine, we'll get it. Kudo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So,
Oh, wait,
So there's-
Tom,
We need a second to the.
Tom, sorry.
it's okay.
So I have a motion by Mr. Willingham, is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Hampton. All right, I'll open up this question.
Who said it?
Mr. Hampton.
May I speak to his motion? Okay, so I did talk with our IT department, and there's a much more cost-effective solution to this. The preferred method of housing recordings of meetings is to utilize our already established YouTube channel, so this won't tie up server or website space. Also, YouTube does have an option to view a video with subtitles, so if we did get a request for accommodation, that system does that at a much lesser cost. So just, if anyone was on the fence, just to offer that as a lower cost alternative as well.
So I think with my amendment wording, it would accommodate a number of different solutions.
I emailed it to you and, I don't know, about Joe.
Yeah, I got it too.
Yeah, so I don't know if we can somehow put that on the screen so people.
Julie, can you pop in the picture for me?
Oh, sorry, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Tom, did you wanna make a comment?
You wanna vote on this first, and then I need to know if the suggestions I made need to be, turned into amendments as well.
Okay, let us finish this one up, then we'll
Okay.
come back to you.
So I want everybody to read that, is where we're heading here.
I can't read it from here.
You want it on the screen, I don't think you want anybody to read it.
I'm sorry?
I say in order to read it, I think we're all gonna have to walk up to the screen.
Oh, okay.
Why doesn't somebody just read it aloud to us?
It is a motion by Willingham, second by Hampton, adding to line 41 on page 2. Now, therefore be it further resolved, the Rusk County IT Department, as soon as practicable, obtain and install and implement an electronic recording system to record, catalog, and archive all meetings of the board, the board committees, board and commissions to be available for members of the public to access recorded meetings for on-demand replay.
Okay, we're all good? Anything, Mr. Schneider?
I think it's a good idea to record it. Rich and I have had numerous discussions over the years about our minutes. Our minutes don't tell us anything, let's be totally honest about it for the most part. And so I think this is a very important step for us to take, for both all of us as well as the public, to be able to see what happened in your own time frame, in your lazy boy if you want, whatever. But I think this is a very important step for us to take.
And I'm fine with doing this, you guys wanna do the recordings, whatever, but my big concern right now, especially this year, is we really don't know, I mean, IT department's gotten smaller. Can they do it? I don't know what this is gonna entail, maybe it's not as much as I think it is, but there's some fiscal impact out here, it sounds like we're just kinda hanging it out in the wind and we're passing policy before we know what it's gonna take to implement it. I don't think that's a good way for the board to do things.
Okay, so I did speak with Walt today. He is our IT team lead. He has experience with this from where he came from down in Florida. Teams already has the capability to record a meeting. All it would take is taking the recording of that meeting and uploading it to our YouTube channel. He did not give me any red flags as to the fact that this would totally bog down their department. Right, so if you guys have never, if you guys aren't content creators on YouTube, what you do is you go into you click, upload video, and then you upload the video, it processes it, it does all of that, you have to check a couple of boxes, and then you just hit publish.
actually, you can go to an agenda item, it'll take you right to where it's at on the video.
Alright, any other questions on this? If not, let's vote on it.
Oh, we got one more question.
I already said vote on it before you shot in. Sorry, Phil. Passed by the majority. Alright, so, now, back to you, Mr. Kudo, and your question is right there.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I would like to make amendment for item number 2 under electronic payments policy. Letter A, I believe that, and there is presumption should be stricken.
What do you want struck, Tom?
I wanted after, so it said all county board meetings shall be held in person, and there is a presumption. I don't believe that should be there. I think it should be all county boards should be held in person, all county board meetings shall be held in person, and all county board members shall attend county board meetings in person.
Can you give us the number?
It's number 2.
Letter A, end of line 26 and the beginning of line 27. Right here.
So, yeah, end of 26 and the first word in 27.
That's your first one, right, Tom?
Yes. You wanna make these a combo, or?
Should be individual.
Does that mean there would be
I would do them all separate.
no
You're doing
member
all separate.
participation remotely?
No,
You're just removing that word.
just, I want that right out of there, it's, yeah,
I get it.
Okay, Tom, we're gonna do all these separate.
Okay.
Is this your first one?
That's my first one.
Hit your amend button.
Hit your amend button. Yeah, you make a motion.
It won't work.
Hang on.
Alright, motion by Mr. Kudo, is there a second to strike presumption? Second by Mr. Hanson. Any other questioning to it? If not, vote on it. Passed by the majority. Next, Tom?
Alright, line 42.
Hit your amend button.
Go ahead.
I'm trying.
Sorry, technical difficulty on there.
Okay, there we go. Line 42, I believe that county clerk should be substituted with admins, administrative coordinator.
Well, I have to notice them though.
Yeah, so I don't think you can do that because she's statutorily obligated to do the notices.
So
I
what
don't,
it's saying is that I put it on the notice. That's all it's saying.
yeah, so I don't think you can do that.
I have to do that.
She's in charge of it.
Okay, alright.
In the agenda, so when I put out the agenda, it's just that little blurb on top. That's what that is. So Ashley doesn't do that, I do, Jelly and I do that.
Alright, moving on.
So we can,
Alright, then moving on.
okay.
I'm not sure exactly how we can fit this in here, but I think probably maybe line 50. After commission, I think we should include department head meetings.
In here with what you said, Tom.
On line number 50.
Yep.
I believe that after the word, commission, we should, and also include department head meetings.
I would not suggest that. Department head meetings do not have to comply with the open records meetings, that's why you're creating this policy. Otherwise, all of your department heads meetings should not be.
So they're not transparent?
What's that?
They are not transparent?
A lot of them can't be.
They're not open meetings.
Why is that?
Why is that? So again, some department head meetings are gonna talk about employees, health and human services, you're gonna be talking about, individuals in need, elderly in need, children, I can keep going, but most of them should not be. So I would caution putting that on there. The reason that you create a policy for electronic meetings is to comply with the open, meetings provisions of the Wisconsin statutes.
Okay. All right,
If
so
I
the next,
may, Mr. Chair, to Rich's point, don't we currently have, my understanding, are all department head meetings attended by all department heads now, or in some cases, are there other employees attending on behalf of that department?
If a department head cannot make it, they can send a designee.
So then, we already have a problem. If you're talking about personnel issues, by the sounds of it, in a department head meeting, you don't have department heads in there.
What I thought by department head meeting was that there's no county officials there, it's just
Employees.
Ashley and Jeremy having the meeting.
I think you're referring to the monthly, all departments heads coming together.
But that would be the committee meetings.
No, the
No, he's
department
talking
heads have a department head meeting.
Once a month, I lead a meeting with all of the department heads of the building. That's what he's talking about.
And they make administrative pronouncements.
Again,
And
I agree with you.
translate policy and so
My
forth.
statement would be that the same, that is a meeting of employees not subject to the open meeting requirements. I would caution creating a policy that is more onerous than the open meetings.
So the question is, are those meetings open to the public?
Right.
And you don't publish a notice or anything?
No.
And that's okay? That's
Correct.
Okay, Tom, you're on.
all right, so moving on then, line number 10. Everybody hear me?
Yep, line number 10,
Okay.
second page.
I believe that should read that no public comment is allowed for teleconferencing, either, public comment should either be made in person by someone actually attending the meeting, or, the individual could submit their comment in writing to the chair, and the chair would then read those comments during public comment.
That would require then there be a notice in the agenda to that effect, right?
And a contact email, I would think, for the chair to be able to receive the public comment.
That should be
Mr.
email.
And why is that, Tom?
Pardon?
Why is that?
Okay, so.
Why is what?
Second by
Why you
Mr.
want it?
Sheets.
No public comment.
I don't wanna kill it, I just don't feel as though, I don't feel that it's appropriate for public to comment on teleconference. I think that public comment should be made in person by public attending the meeting, or, like I said, they could submit their comment in writing and then have them read by the chair. I think that would be a better approach to it than having public on teleconferencing making their comments.
Okay. The answer, Mr. Sheets.
Mr. Chairman.
So theoretically, during a meeting,
On this one, I mean, at one point I would have probably gone for public comment, but I've only seen it done once, so far, and it was very distracting.
was just gonna add, I participate in a lot of Zoom meetings, and probably the number one and number two issues that happen during Zoom meetings is people talking when they're muted, and then somebody says, "You're muted, Charlie," and then Charlie has to say it all over again, or somebody's dog barking and kids running through the room, everything, because they're not muted, so it's almost, I tend to agree a little bit here.
I think it would just make the flow go a lot better.
So then, any other discussion? Otherwise, it is to amend line 10 and 11, that no public is allowed via teleconferencing. In the event a member of the public is unable to attend, they may submit it in writing and request that the chair read it.
Correct.
Yes.
Any other comments or questions? If not, we can vote on it. Passed by majority. Next, Mr. Kudo,
Line 17 should be scratched.
Did you amend?
what's your amendment?
Tom, did you amend?
Not working.
I just gotta.
All right, motion by Mr. Kudo, seconded by Mr. Meyer. Any questions? If not, vote on it. Well, Ms. Good, you came in a little under the wire.
I pushed it and then I got erased because it wasn't the second. Alright.
Passed by majority. Mr. Kudo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Line 20 through 22.
Chairman.
It's not working.
Yes, it is. No, you're okay, just leave it right there. Cause I'm just gonna write in here now, go ahead.
Just go ahead, it didn't work.
It did.
Oh, okay. All right, I believe that should read that members who participate in the meeting by electronic means are required to join the meeting at prior to the start of the meeting and identify themselves. At that time.
I need a motion and a second by Mr. Meyer. Okay, Mr. Schneider.
We had a perfect example of what happened here a few meetings ago. We had people who couldn't get here because the train was across the tracks. Well, if you're going home and the trains are across the tracks, that means what? I think it's a bad idea.
I don't understand, I'm sorry, I don't understand your.
How many people showed up late because the trains were across the track? Well, if somebody's busy during the day and hurrying home trying to get there, and they, in Ladysmith, sit 45 minutes sometimes?
We're not talking about that, Mr.
But they haven't gotten home on time to get online. That's what I'm talking about.
You can participate by phone or online, so you could call in before you get home.
I have a solution.
Sure, weigh in, Mr. Wellington.
Generally speaking, when you are on a Zoom call, Teams and other, platforms, there's a waiting room. So when you log in, you don't get into the meeting until the person running the meeting allows you into the meeting from the waiting room. Right?
Yeah, you can make that an option. Typically for board meetings though, we don't do that. We just have, because it's too much to do on one, so typically,
But that
just
would be,
come in when you
but
can.
that would be a way for people to enter
Yeah.
the meeting without interrupting or whatever. I don't think that would be that.
No, it's just a setting to change, yeah.
Okay, so we write that down.
So, yeah, Mr. Cooter, your motion, members who participate in an electronic meeting shall make themselves available to the meeting prior to the start of the meeting,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson's.
Mr. Chairman, so the motion to amend this, would only be to amend board members. The public could still jump in, because it says members, it doesn't say.
Right.
So if I was watching, let's say I couldn't make it as a board member, I could still watch it as a member of the public at that point.
Arguably then you couldn't participate, correct?
I just couldn't participate.
Any other questions? If not, we can vote on it. That's by the majority. Mr. Kudo?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So,
Get your amendment,
Hit your amendment. Thank you.
just leave it there, you're good.
lines 30 through 38. I don't understand why they both need to be there. It just seems like it's a contradiction.
Yes.
Okay, so I just wanna give just a quick background on this. This policy was established by the Wisconsin Counties Association, just, so that can be said. So letter N puts the onus on the supervisor. So if you have bad internet and you keep dropping in and out and you miss a vote, we're not gonna go back and redo that vote for you. That's your responsibility to make sure that you're in the meeting and you have a good internet connection. Letter O, okay, arguably to Mr. Kudo's point, it probably shouldn't say county clerk, it probably should say person running the meeting. But for instance, I forget if it was, I think Mr. Willingham said, if someone's dog is barking in the background and the chair says that is really distracting, whoever is running this meeting, you need to mute that person. That is what that means. So the first one is the onus is on the board member. If their connection keeps dropping and they are missing, they miss a vote, that's on them. We're not gonna go back. And then O is the chair can deem if someone's attendance at the meeting is distracting, like with a dog barking or horrible feedback or something, they can order that person to be either disconnected or muted.
So by removing them, I think it potentially gives a member a cause of action against the board to say, hey, I missed that last meeting because you kicked me off, your connection wasn't bad, or wasn't good. Whereas this puts the onus on you, you're the one operating remotely, that if you get disconnected, sorry, we're conducting our business as scheduled.
So that means if you, like, say, if there was a vote, say your vote would have either passed it, you're just SOL.
Yep.
Okay, alright, I get it now. Then, so line 34, I would simply like to say that, remove after chair, just say that the chair may order to disconnect or mute a member's connection.
Rather than that, why don't you do order the clerk, strike order the county clerk too, so it's just that the chair may disconnect or mute a member's connection.
That's what I thought I said.
Oh, I did not hear that, okay.
Okay, so, yeah, the chair may order to disconnect or mute a member's connection. So we're going to say that the chair may, so remove order the county clerk.
Correct.
Strike the county clerk. Right? Okay.
The chair may disconnect.
Correct. So, motion by Mr. Cooley, reading this right here.
So a motion by Mr. Kudo to amend letter O to say the chair may disconnect or mute a member's connection, striking the words order the county clerk to.
Okay, and seconded by Mr. Willingham and, Mr. Undershoot.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If we're not allowing members to participate anyways, why does it matter if the members, quality disconnects? I mean, at this point, you might as well just remove them, right? I mean, it's talking about members, it's not talking about the public here. So, I mean, what's the point of even keeping those lines in there, period? If it's talking about a member with poor quality, but a member cannot participate with poor quality at all anyways. I guess that's my question, it's talking about members here again.
A member can participate, just not get.
The public has to talk too.
Well, then you might wanna change that to say that,
Neither one of those things were cited.
somehow say so anybody that's listening to the recording is in charge of their own quality. If that's the intent.
You know, again, this goes to the onus that if the chair decides to disconnect you because your electronic device is being irritating, he can do that.
We're talking about members, because they're not allowed to participate.
They are allowed to participate provided you start prior to the meeting.
If the background's making noise, you're out of here. Alright, so back to square one.
Just to be a contrarian.
No.
To my own second. The chair could be overruled by the committee, correct?
Not here because it's an undebatable appeal.
What's that?
What's that?
Couldn't, you know, let's just say the chair decides to disconnect somebody and the rest of the committee say, hey, not distracting me,
It's an undebatable
Yeah,
appeal.
but you can still appeal it, you just can't debate the decision, so you vote on it. No, chair, you can't kick him off.
yeah, I make a motion that the chair's decision be
You just are gonna
overruled,
debate that issue.
that's always an order.
Undebatable.
A member can appeal that decision.
It's always
We're
an
not gonna have
order.
debate on it.
Okay, so motion
Three
is
to
to
two to-
remove the county clerk.
Correct, so just the chair can.
So, any other questions on that? You understand it's just removing out the county clerk? If not, we can vote on it. Passed by the majority?
One more.
Really? Well, yeah,
What
yeah,
are your
how much
hands
more you
up?
got there?
You got a unanimous,
I don't know about that.
It's kinda long ago.
Well, you know, if you want
It's your
some.
man.
And then,
Alright, line number 39 and 40.
Get him in.
Line number 39 and 40. I believe, what did we say that we're gonna add? This should add committee. Meetings. This should state that because the county board meetings, the votes are all tallied on the system. And they're printed out,
But it's possible that they may not, for example, the minutes for the beginning of this meeting, that was done by voice vote. That couldn't have been done if somebody was attending electronically, we would have had to done that on a roll call vote.
okay.
So, I think that I would caution changing that, cause I think that serves its purpose.
But the way this reads now, it says all votes shall be taken by roll call.
When somebody's participating electronically.
So, so it's only electronically, only people that participate electronically are required to do roll call?
Well, the whole thing would be done roll call. When
So
somebody's
anybody here has to participate in roll call as well?
Yes. When somebody is participating electronically.
No,
That doesn't sound
if
fair.
you're gonna do this, it's saying all meetings will be done electronically and all votes will be taken by roll call, period. That's what it's saying.
This is the policy on electronic meetings.
Yeah, I mean, says all votes shall be taken by roll call. It doesn't say
It's
only
pertaining
if
to electronic
somebody's
meetings.
on it electronically, it says all votes. So that means if everybody is present, we have to do all votes by roll call. Correct?
No, because this policy only applies when somebody's participating electronically.
But it doesn't state that there.
It does in.
No, it's electronic policy.
Look at the definitions. You know, electronic media is one in which some or all are participating members communicate with others electronically.
Okay, alright. I'm done.
Thank you, Jesus.
We're ready to vote on the.
So now you're back on the resolution with the 6 amendments. So, any other?
I'd just like to add that this will be somewhat more inconvenient than present, although this is, I think, what we did when we were using electronic means before. And all committee meetings gonna have to be held in this room. Right?
Alright, so back to the original motion, we have Mr. Undershoot's motion, seconded by Mr. Russell and Mr. Meyer.
What did, with all these changes, lost track of a couple, I'm sure. What did we end up, who's going to oversee each one of these meetings and monitor that? Did it end up being the administrative coordinator?
No, it's either the IT department or the department head or their designee.
Just like it is right there.
Okay.
If no more questions, Mr. Wedwick.
So if I'm understanding what you're saying, we can never use a small conference again for meetings.
Well, I'm not entirely sure that's accurate because there's a TV in there, so I'm not quite sure why we couldn't do an electronic meeting in that room.
We use it for,
all the
we use
time.
it for interviews all the time, and the candidates can hear everybody in the room, and they can hear us. So I would think it would work, we use Teams is what we use, and we do virtual interviews, and we haven't had problems with people hearing.
Recording capability?
The recording happens, like on the laptop that's running it.
Yeah, so I mean, we could test it out to make sure beforehand, to, you know, we can test one out and throw it on YouTube and see, to make sure, but we know it works fine for virtual.
So that if you're doing it on the laptop, then, say, the highway committee, continue to have meetings at the highway department?
They do them here now. At
Oh,
that,
do they?
at
Oh,
the,
okay.
yeah.
That's good.
Mr. Schneider.
I just wanted to say, you know, answer Terry's question, when this whole thing originally came up, this room and the small conference room were all set to go. Flipped the switches and we were ready to go. So I don't know how much backtracking we have to do, but that was ready at that time.
I don't think any. That was before me though, but I don't think any.
Mr. Kudo.
Okay, and, in response to Mr. Meyer's point, so on page 2, line like 1 through 3, first sentence, it says the IT department and or the department head or his or her designee shall ensure that the equipment necessary to conduct such a meeting is in place prior to the commencement of the meetings. So basically, all the IT or the department head or his or her designee is just making sure that the equipment is there. Am I reading this correctly?
Right.
So then who operates the equipment?
Well, it should probably be the department head or the IT department clicking start on the meeting.
Okay.
What about closed sessions?
That's in the policy that the meeting, no, you cannot attend the closed session.
No, but as far as closing it from the public, I mean, how simple is that? To shut it off from the public, you've got to go on that master screen, right?
Yep, and then you
And
just
close
click,
that down and then open it back up when you go back to open session, so who's gonna be responsible for this?
probably the same person that clicked start.
Or kind of leaving that open?
But then, so department head, so what if it's like an oversight committee?
So, for instance, when I first started and we were doing virtual, if it was emergency services, it was usually Miranda or George that started it. I'm sure Tom would do it if we asked him. In meetings that I attend, I can do it.
I guess because, like, neither Miranda and George are department head.
Right, that's why it says or designee.
Okay, I'm just, again, I think, I don't know, this might need some work because, I feel that our IT department is going to, I'm just hoping they can handle it,
I think they can handle it.
considering we only have two. That's my point. Thank you.
No more clip.
Just one. So in regards to committee meetings then, we should bring laptop?
I'm not carrying mine.
Huh?
I'm not bringing mine.
The department head would use it.
Yeah.
Department head or.
Committee meetings though.
Yeah, department head or.
Like for personnel, Ashley or I would bring ours and take care of it for personnel. I'm just thinking you're the chair of that committee, so we would take care
I'm
of
just
that.
asking if I need to always bring my laptop.
No, none of the board members would need to worry about that. The onus falls on administration to do that.
Okay, I think we're overthinking this. Let's vote on this, clear mind, because we're asking all the same questions in different words.
I'm not here in person, I remote.
Every remotely wrote.
Mr. Schneider, so. Passed by the majority.
Like you cannot talk in
Okay, closed session, any motion? Motion by Mr. Miller, seconded by Terry Wedrick. Conferring with legal counsel in regards to settlement made pursuant to Wisconsin Stat 19.85 paragraph 1, paragraph 3 for conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. Alright, vote to go into closed session. Yes, passed by majority, we're in closed session. Alright, second closed session, entertain a motion to, go into closed session. Motion by Mr. Miller, second by Mr. Hampton. Consider employee compensation for an additional assistant registered in probate position pursuant to Wisconsin Stats 19.85, para 1, para C, for considering employment, promotion, compensation, and performance evaluation data and of an public employee over which the government body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility. Vote, go into closed session. We are now in closed session. Go in closed session. Motion by Mr. Miller, seconded by Mr. Wedway.
I was paying attention.
Preparing counter offer to city Ladies Smith to provide jointly owned industrial buildings and land pursuant to Wisconsin Stat 19.85, 1, E, for deliberating, negotiating, and purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, conducting other specified public businesses, whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, and Wisconsin Stat 19.85, para 1, para G, are conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. Okay, vote.
Gotta get the timing right.
Passed by the majority, we're in closed session. Okay, moving on. Recognitions. Number 1, the David G. How do you say that? Meisner Award for the Public-Private Corporation, and feature article in the Wisconsin County Magazine of January 2025 edition. Ms. Heath.
Okay, so I'll draw your attention to the award in the middle of the table, and then I think you all received the Wisconsin Counties Magazine. If not, there are additional copies you can take home with you. The Wisconsin Policy Forum awards the David G. Meisner Award for public-private cooperation to a partnership between one or more public and private sector entities that worked in partnership to achieve a worthwhile public policy goal. The 2024 recipient of this award is Rusk County and Oakleaf Clinics for our Rural Healthcare Partnership. The press release reads, in January of 2023, Prevea announced the closure of clinics in northwest Wisconsin, including one in Ladysmith. This closure would have left only one healthcare option in the county. Rusk County leaders quickly recognized the need to intervene and acted on it, purchasing the former Prevea Clinic building in Ladysmith in April, and securing a lease with Oakleaf Clinics to operate it starting in May. The county worked closely with Oakleaf to ensure that there would be no loss in services or providers with this transition. The lease agreement between Rusk County and Oakleaf outlines a buyback plan by which Oakleaf plans to take ownership of the building within 5 years. This undertaking is a testament to the good that can happen when public and private sector groups come together to work toward a common goal, providing access to quality health care. Chair Caleb was unable to attend the presentation of this award due to the budget hearing in November, but an acceptance speech was read on his behalf, and a short vignette featuring interviews with county and Oakleaf representatives was played. The Wisconsin Counties Association featured an article on this award in their January edition of the Wisconsin Counties Magazine. Congratulations to all who were involved in this accomplishment.
Finally good news.
Right.
And that award is very heavy, so if anybody wants to go pick it up and look at it, you're more than welcome to, but make sure you got a good hand on it. And it's all glass. No problem.
Ready to get on it.
Breaking, there's no more making it. All right. Moving on. Appointments. Linda Anderson to the library board. I need a motion. Motion by Kathy Holber and John Moore. Any questions or anything about it?
I made amendments to that.
No.
Just kidding.
Just one?
I'll start with one.
You know, if I give this to Rich,
We're getting giddy.
I did.
Sleep deprived.
passed by the majority. All right, announcements. County board time will be changed to 6 p.m.
Ongoing?
Ongoing from this point out.
Is this open for discussion?
What?
Is this open for discussion? Well, I think it should be.
Why?
Well, because what about during the summer?
What about it? You wanna sit
People
here until
work,
10 o'clock at night?
John. People, farmers, et cetera, they're out doing field
Hold on,
work.
this was booked as a announcement,
if we want to put that on as an action item for next month, reach out to the chair and request that he do so.
Okay, I'm gonna reach out to you right now,
I don't hear the.
that we put it on the next month's agenda, please. Connie, you heard me.
I don't, it's the chair.
I have witnesses.
Here's back.
Alright.
Move to adjourn.
I have another announcement first. I would like to thank Jamie Wilk, this is her last board meeting, and she just came from the last finance meeting at 5 o'clock today. So thank you for all these years here, and wish you well in your new job, and again, thanks for everything.
Thank you, Jerry. 25th?
Sue, do you have a question?
Yeah, I do. Mr. Chairman and board members and the public, I'm sorry I was late. A deer decided to join me in my car on the way over. So by the time I called somebody and got transportation over here, I was considerably late. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. As long as you're all right, that's
Did you get a ticket?
No.
all in favor to adjourn? Aye.
Yeah, I got it.
Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned.
Can we set the date?
Next meeting.
4/16. It's already done.